If you just purchased or you're thinking about purchasing grain-free icing, I'm going to show you how to mix it to get details and then how to mix it to have a flood. Now with details, I say details and I'm meaning like details like adding happy birthday onto a dog bone or maybe eyes and a nose and a mouth. So that's really what I mean for the details. And the details are a little bit thicker than the flooding. So I'm going to start with that for this example. Now, it says here 1/2 cup of dry mix in the bowl, but this is actually 1 cup dry mix because I wanted to have enough of the icing so that you can really see it with the camera and how the water reacts to it. So instead of adding 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon water, I'm going to double that just to let you know. And I am going to start off very little. I'm going to actually start off with 2 tablespoons water. I'm not going to add the 2 teaspoons of water yet because it may not need it for the details. And if it does need it, I can add it, which is easier than adding more of the mix to make it thicker. So I'm going to go ahead and stir this up, and you can see here it's actually going to be too thick, so I will be adding more water. But I just want you to see that, you know, sometimes when you follow the directions, we tend to make it so that you have to add more water to it because we would rather have you add more water than have it too thin and have you add more mix. So I'm just going to try 1 teaspoon more water, even though I think I'm going to have to add another one per the directions. I just want to let you know or show you how quickly the water reacts. Yeah, this definitely is going to need probably a couple more teaspoons water. But like I said, these are just the base amounts because we want it to be versatile for your in particular creations. Everybody adds different amounts of water to have the icing do different things. So I actually just put 2 tablespoons more water in here. And it's still on the thick side, but I'm going to keep stirring it because it is actually forming a very nice piping icing to write things such as happy birthday. Now, I also want to mention that if you added powdered food coloring into the dry mix and you were doing this, you might even need a little extra water because the powdered food colors also make the mix thicker, which is fine. And it's reversed. If you were to add a liquid food coloring right now, you want to make sure that you don't mix this too thin because the liquid food coloring will also make it thin. So this is a really, really nice details consistency. It's not too thick, not too thin, and I could easily write happy birthday. I even probably could have just made it a little thicker. And then I could do things like paw print pads, everything like that. Now, if you accidentally make the icing, any of our icings, a little too thick and the icing curls up out of the bag when you're writing something like happy birthday and you have to push it down on the treat, that means that it's too thick, and when it dries, it would most likely fall off the treat. So you don't want it too thick either. You want it just right in between. As you use our icing products, you get the hang of it and you'll completely know just by looking at the icing whether or not you want more or less water. It does come in time, and it comes quickly. You will learn really fast, so don't let that fool you. Okay, so the flooding. We already have a cup in here. I'm actually going to use a teaspoon at a time because this will really show you how quickly 1 teaspoon of water can create the perfect consistency for flooding. So let me just mix this up. And flooding, I mean, you know, maybe a white dog bone, any background that you're looking to cover on your dog treats. And the detail is what you put on normally on top of the flooded background. And a lot of times we let the flooded portion of it dry for a couple of hours so that when you write something on it, it doesn't go into, you know, like flood into the white. So if I was going to write if I was going to do this white, which by the way is perfect for flooding, let me just show you this first. So you pick it up, you let it drop back into the bowl, and it should just kind of meld right into the icing like that. And then you know you have a perfect flooding consistency. If this was too thin, you would see a lot of air bubbles. At that point, you want to add a little bit of more mix. And what I was talking about with the happy birthday is, say you flooded a dog bone treat with this, you would let it dry for a couple of hours. Some people let it dry overnight, that's fine too. And then you could write things like happy birthday in blue. And when you do that, if the background is dry, the happy birthday in blue will stay on top of the treat instead of blending into the blue. So you want to make sure that your white backgrounds or whatever color backgrounds you have are dry enough so that when you write happy birthday on it, you don't get what they call a wet on wet blending of your icing. So that's the secret to that. Let the background dry a little bit before you add the details.